Well, good morning, everyone. There we go. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 27th day of March, 2019. Well, I hope everybody had a good day yesterday. Today we have a numerology of 9. 27 reduces to 9. 7 and 2 is 9. So we have a day of completion. Oops, maybe I can shuffle, maybe I can't. I mentioned the other day that we were cutting up garlic for drying, and I cut my thumb. So it's making not just shuffling challenging, but everything challenging. I'm not even left-handed, and I don't know. I'm just having the worst time doing things. So hanging on to stuff, and I don't know, just touching things. It's awful when you cut the end of your thumb, but I do that. I probably shouldn't be allowed around knives, so. But garlic is a little bit slippery sometimes when you're slicing it, and I was trying to do it, slicing a clove, just holding it together and doing it, and that's when it happened. So anyhow, bear with me while I shuffle a little bit here. Well, I'm doing this a little bit earlier today. We did not go on our walk. Usually we do a 4-mile walk in the morning, but it's raining right now, so we're not going to go out today, I don't think. It might still be raining tomorrow too. I don't know though. But it's supposed to be doing this the rest of the day and into the evening. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get to go tomorrow. I hate missing a day, but really, it's better if you don't, especially if you're doing long distances, which I don't know if people consider 4 miles long distance. I suppose if you just do a walk around the block, then yeah, it is. But we used to do twice that. So, I don't know. It just took up way too much time though in the morning, and we needed to get back and start watering. So we just decided not to do the 8 miles anymore, and so we we have a route that we do 6 miles, and I like that one really well. But this one it's nice. Right now we have 2 options for 4 miles, and right now the original one that we do, the normal one we do, we're not going that way because they're putting in a new housing development right there, and there's a lot of heavy equipment, and they've got the road blocked off, and so it's just easier. I think they probably don't want anybody there. I mean, people still live along there, so there's going to be people there, but I'm sure they don't want to have to contend with anybody. So we're going the opposite direction, and it turns out that that's also, well, depending on how we do it, it might be 4.5 miles. So we turn around where I think it's 4. So I don't want to go any further than that. So anyhow, we just couldn't do it today. Anyhow, so yesterday we were kind of talking about things maybe in Genesis, thinking about new ideas. We had the 7 of Cups, and some people view that as just head in the clouds and not being very realistic. But I just think, where do you think ideas come from? So, keep them coming. Anyhow, let's count 13 and see what we have for today. For those of you who haven't been here before, I'll just explain really quickly how I do this. Usually I do 3 cards. I don't do them one after the other, though. I'll do one and talk about it. And I like to get them as random as possible. So I take the 13th card each time. I was born on the 13th. I was born in 1957, which reduces to 13, also to 4, but to 13. I was ill for 13 years. 13 has always figured prominently in my life. I used to wake up for years at 3:13 a.m. every single morning. So, I mean, 13 has just always been there for me. I'm not really sure why. It just is. And so anyway, I count 13. I take that card and I do that 3 times. Yesterday, though, I did it 4. Because here's what I do. If I draw a court card, I have to draw another. And that's how I ended up drawing 3 cards. I started this whole video series doing 1 card and 1 rune and comparing the 2. But, then I draw a court card. It's like, well, what on earth am I going to do with that? They need something to interact with. So, of course, what do I do today? I draw the Knight of Cups. So all that to explain the Knight of Cups. Anyway, the Knights are interesting. They're about movement. Uh, you can see the wings on his helmet are pointing backwards, and it denotes movement. I don't know that he's really moving. I think the horse is just standing there, with his leg probably up in the air, just sort of posing. They almost look like they're posing. He's offering, emotion. He's offering a chalice, and chalices are cups, and cups are emotions. They're the water element. You see the water out in front there. They're about to cross the river or cross a stream into maybe new emotions, maybe. But you're either talking about someone who, when you look at the page, or sometimes known as the princess in some other non-traditional decks, they're either called one or the other. The knight could also be called the prince in some decks, like in Crowley's Thoth deck. You're looking at the prince and princess instead of the page and the knight, like you have here in the Rider-Waite. But the knight is usually a little bit older. They're not, whereas the page is thought to be the student. So the knight has already gone through that. They've gone through their training. They're ready to go out and do their quest for the Holy Grail or what have you. They're out there for new experiences. They're out there to protect. And basically, when you're talking about cups, I wanted to check my little tarot grimoire here. You're talking about manifesting your dreams. It's really, when you talk about the Knight of Cups, this is really the Holy Grail, on the quest of the Holy Grail. Because the chalice is thought to be the representative of, Mary Magdalene, really. That's who I view the Holy Grail as, is Mary Magdalene. It's thought to represent the womb. It's thought to represent the birth of emotional presence. But he's passionate and he's a visionary. But when he's ill-dignified, he can be quite passive aggressive. You see that really evident in the King of Cups. They tend to be quite passive aggressive. They don't really know how to manage their power and authority. They do it in an emotional way, in a way that maybe reason sort of takes a back seat to. So the Knight of Cups would be your traditional Knights Templar, protecting the Holy Grail, protecting the family, protecting all of that. Depending on where you come down on whether or not the real Jesus died on the cross, I don't actually think that he did. I believe he married Mary Magdalene. I believe he had kids, and I think they went to France or somewhere over in that area in Europe. I think another version of Jesus went to, or was it Nepal or somewhere? And then there was a third one who was actually the one that died on the cross. But I don't believe that he actually did. I think that, and then I think the Templars were the ones who decided to protect the family, basically, and their location. But of course, they were more than that. They basically set up the banking system between them and Rome. They sort of did all that. And eventually, when things got to be too much for them, who was it? Was it King Philip, a relative in my ancestry? Unfortunately, I have a lot of Knights Templar in my ancestry as well. But then, of course, the Holy Family is also in my ancestry. So, yeah, in fact, Mary, Mother Mary, not Mary, well, Mary Magdalene is a relative, but I think she's either an aunt or a cousin. But the Blessed Virgin is actually no, is she a grandmother? No, she's an aunt. She's an aunt in my ancestry. No, that's not true. She's a cousin in my ancestry. That's what it is. I've been exploring it, and it depends on how you get there. You can get to someone a variety of lines. And so in one line, someone might be your grandparent, a great grandparent. Others might be, an aunt or uncle, and another line might be a cousin. So it gets confusing. You start to look at I was exploring Bran the Blessed, who is the Archdruid, who's a grandfather. and great grandfather, looking at what we, at least what we know of his ancestry. A lot of it, we're taking a leap of faith here. When we start, taking the ancestry in a particular direction, we think we're going in the right direction. We might find out in the ultimate final analysis that it's just not true. But the right now, at least, how we see everyone's lineage, an awful lot of us are related to these folks, and so directly. So in any event, it's kind of interesting to look at the knights and all of that in terms of all of that. In terms of protecting, that whole thing, that whole presence of Sananda energy at that time, because that's really what they were doing. But anyway, let's draw another card and see just exactly what our knight's doing today. What are we on a quest for today? Because that's really what this is. We're on some kind of a grail quest today. Well, we have the Two of Wands. We had the Three of Wands last week. And there you're looking at the same gentleman, the same merchant. He's holding a globe in his hands. So he's looking out over the water. You can see down here at the bottom, you've got the sense of a doorway here and here. You can see. I mean, it's kind of the start of one. You're kind of looking out over the, he's up high. I don't know that he's necessarily up in a tower, but he's clear up at the top of the castle anyway. And he's getting kind of a bird's eye view at what's coming. But it's like he's having to make a decision, isn't he? So either he made a decision and he's going off on a grail quest, or he's been on the grail quest and he's gathered enough information, he's gathered enough of whatever learning, whatever training, whatever he's gone out to look for, and maybe he's come back and now he's having to make a decision about his future. But it doesn't feel that way. It feels like this happened first. So he's there and he's having to make a decision about what he's going to manifest. Wands is about what we manifest. Wands reflects the fire element or our will. And so it's really about, in this case, he's manifesting his future. So he's trying to make some decisions about that. So maybe we've been in that decision-making process. Maybe this is an extension of yesterday, where we're generating some new thought. Maybe something's either coming to fruition or we're about to begin something. Either way, maybe in this case, maybe we're still in the decision-making mode. Maybe we had the Seven of Cups and we're looking at all these different options, and we're finally just today, maybe we're going to start to try to figure out where we're going to go, and we're making a decision about that today. And I think that's what I'm going to start to do. I think I'm going to start to look at, I do this 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, and I think what I'm going to start to do is look at how all of the 4 days interact with one another. I'm going to have to look back here. I've been writing this down. Let me just stop here really quick. Mondays was the Three of Wands. That's when we had that. So it wasn't last week. It was Monday. The Hierophant, the Six of Pentacles, and Birkenau. And so here there was an emphasis on understanding that there's more than just the individual, and there was about shared abundance. And but again, with Birkenau, you're also looking at, in the Three of Wands, in a sense, it's almost like the two wands you see here in the Two of Wands, then he stepped through that doorway into a new experience because he's holding on to a third staff. And so that's what we said on Monday. And then yesterday, again, we had the Seven of Cups, the Star, the King of I'm not sure what that was now. I didn't write the rest of that down. Oh, King of Pentacles. No, I did. The King of Pentacles. And so, and then yesterday I drew a fourth card, which was the Queen of Wands. where it was almost like we're trying to figure out how do we present that. In other words, if we're trying to present something to say a boss or a supervisor, we're coming up with some new ideas about maybe something at a job, and we need to present that. We're not really sure how we're going to do that. Or I also suggested that it could be how we tend to maybe discount the ideas that we have, and maybe they never reach anyone else because we're too afraid to talk about them. So here, I think we need to take a look at maybe the 4 days, maybe as a progression from now on. There just seems to be so much synchronicity between all of them. So I think that's what I want to do. So here we have, now we've gotten to the point today where we're making a decision, and we're considering the options. We've made a choice. And now we're about to go on to some kind of a grail quest. Now, let's see if if this next card though comes before the Knight of Cups. Maybe something's going to inform this, or maybe he's in the center of all of this, and we're going to see what comes after. So let's take a look at the next card, and then we'll look at a rune. Well, here we have shared abundance again. We have the Six of Cups. You can see we have two children. Looks like two little girls. We see six cups. They have flowers. I got involved. I got caught up in looking at it. I need to be talking. But we see here. You see right here. You see the X. That's Gebo, or share or balanced energy exchange as a rune. We have a rune called Gebo that looks like that, and that's called balanced energy exchange, basically. And here you have shared abundance. You see the flowers and the chalices there. A white flower, a lily, maybe in the center of each one. We're talking about shared abundance. We're talking about joy and love. I think that we're going to look at the Knight of Cups as a message of love and abundance. I think we're going to go. I think we're going to put the Six of Cups after the Two of Wands. And then we're going to see the Six of Cups, which is shared abundance. And we're going to see the Knight of Cups as he goes out, holding his chalice in front of him, before him, sending a message of love and shared abundance. That's our greatest protection. Let's do a rune. I think we're living in a really harsh climate right now. It feels like the guy in the Oval Office, if you look at the things he does just after something, he's either retaliating or he's punishing. But if people stand up against him, whether it's the other politicians, whether it's people, just regular voters, if we speak out, if you have anybody that speaks out against him, then he punishes. And now he's going to try and strip healthcare away from people. It's, everything he promised at all those rallies was a lie. It was just to get elected. It was never going to happen. And now we have, and what's happened is we've created, not we, but, well, we, I suppose, because unfortunately we're all responsible here. But we've created a scenario where everything is so divided and everyone is seen as the enemy. You know, we have enough money in this country to express a sense of shared abundance, and yet you have some in the country that don't want to do that. They want to keep it all for them. And so now healthcare may be stripped from over 20 million people. This is a very difficult time. I'm sure people are quite nervous right now. Um, it's like everything is getting blown out of the water, and for no good reason. There's no reason at all other than someone's desire for it to happen, or a group of someone's desires for it to happen. Um, the numerology of this reading so far here is going to be 8. And so that just reinforces the notion of shared abundance. But it's not just that, it's leadership based on the ability to see the greater good. Um, if we were to assign a number, and we don't usually, to the court cards, the page or princess would be an 11. The knight or prince would be a 12, and so that would be a 3. So 8 and 3 would then be 11. Okay, and Isa is the rune, and is also the 11th rune of the Elder Futhark. And so you're talking the master number when you talk about 11 and 22 and 33 and 44. Anytime you double them, you can reduce it, to its lowest denominator, but you don't have to, and you shouldn't, because these are regarded as master numbers. And so they're really soul numbers, and higher self, bringing in that focus into the equation. And Isa is, as the 11th rune of the Elder Futhark, embodies that just naturally. Together, if you were to add both together, you would have 22, which would be the cosmic builder. What are we going to manifest? And here you have that theme of manifestation. And what are we manifesting? Are we manifesting something that is simply reflective of service to self? But no, I don't think so. I think that we're really reflecting service to others. And this keeps coming up. This is the direction that we need to be going. We don't need to be tearing that down. We need to be shoring it up. Isa is about going within and achieving that inner stillness that is our source presence, that is the higher self, and that's all that there is the higher self. We can think in alignment of as above, so below, but the truth of it all we are is soul. All we are is higher self. We just feel separate from that in form, but it's only an illusion. In truth, we are not the body. We're not the ego. We are entirely the soul. And it's time that we drew our focus back from the egoic focus that we're in, the place that we're stuck, and just draw back and to be that higher self essence, to be that soul essence, and to see things from that perspective, from that level of truth. Because if you're constantly reacting to what's going on in life, then you're not coming from a higher self perspective. You're coming from an egoic reaction to everything. And then that's when we end up forgetting, this, that this is our true reality. And that when we're pondering the difference between service to self and service to others, it has to come down to this. That's the message that we send out to everyone. That life is about shared abundance. And maybe we just need to find that inner Isa, that inner stillness to know that. Because you go within, you know what the truth is. You do. Except now we've become a place that is so frightened of people of color and immigrants that we want to We want to put wire up. We want to build a wall. We want to wall ourselves off. It's a metaphor for service to self, that kind of orientation. It's not a metaphor for shared abundance or unity consciousness or anything else. But there is the real truth. The rest is an illusion that's based on fear. And why would anyone want to live there? So it seems like whatever we've been trying to manifest all week, we'll see what happens tomorrow, but whatever we've been trying to manifest all week really, is lending us toward the message of love and peace and harmony and shared abundance with all. The guy in the Oval Office needs to understand that just as each one of us creates our reality, he's creating his own, but it's not simply affecting him, it's affecting everyone else, you see. Sometimes we have to be mindful of the position in which we find ourselves with others. Whether it's a parent who can't seem to stay home, who's out at the bars all the time, or out, playing and not being home with the kids. There's no money to pay the rent. You might have something like that, or you have a boss that's never around, to write the checks out every when the paychecks are due. You've got people that simply pay attention only to their own stuff. They don't think about how it impacts anyone else. And unfortunately, if there is a greater message here, it's that the ripple effect is huge. It's not something that's so inconsequential that nobody else feels it. So, in the decisions that you make, if this is something where, you're having to make a decision about maybe a different direction in your life, maybe you've been working in a place that really doesn't reflect, that humanitarian aspect within you. Maybe you need to find another job that maybe you can manifest a little more of that. Or just maybe do this around your home, with neighbors or something. Try to manifest abundance, try to manifest something that's shared, with others, even if it's just a kind word, or maybe just being helpful to somebody in need, opening a door for someone, assisting someone if something drops on the floor, go and help them pick it up. Just something that makes someone know that someone else noticed that they're having a little bit of a moment and they might need a little bit of a hand. So, you don't have to take out money out of your pocket and throw it at them. You can simply go be present and give them a little assistance. So, it's a way of shifting the focus away from the self and on to other people to realize that this really is about a shared experience, given that we are one. So we can't, as try as people might to see the other, in fact, it's a brother. So, you're just going to have to get used to that. It's just the way it is. No matter how much you might want to fight against it, you're going to be struggling for nothing. Because in the end, we all return to our non-physical aspect of self where we're all one. So there you go. Might as well enjoy it here. It really matters that much. So anyhow, thank you so much for coming by. I truly appreciate it. If you haven't clicked subscribe yet, I would love you to do that. I have not done the lunar transits. I'm going to, when I stop this and upload it, I'm going to go and finish those. So those will be up today. I am thinking about doing a little bit more with that. So I've been adding more to the lunar transits. I kind of don't want to think of it, it's really, yeah, it's lunar transits, but it's a little more than that. I do more than that. So you'll just have to check it out and see. It's more, look, it's more geared toward work and magic because it has information on it that any witch who's going to use astrological correspondences in their workings, okay, they're going to want to know certain things, all right? They're going to want to know planetary hours. They're going to want to know the elements that are strongest. They're going to want to know because you don't want to just work with the strongest ones. You want to be aware of the ones that are weakest that day to maybe shore them up if you need to. I include mansions of the moon. And I talk about different magical workings you can do and how you can kind of coordinate all that together. there's some stuff on retrograde there. There sometimes I do a little focus on goddess planets if there's some aspects to, like, Juno and Vesta and Pallas and all of that. So I include all of that. It's more of an esoteric type of a chart. It doesn't look like a normal chart. Well, I mean, for some people, for probably many astrologers, it would be a normal chart. I'm not an astrologer, though. I do this so that, I mean, really, it's from a witch perspective, really. It's not from really, I mean, I have stuff in there, so it's not that you're not going to find that. It's just most of I just give just a little blurb about the overview of the moon and whatever. And like now it's in Capricorn, and so I'll talk just a little tiny bit about that. Most of what I talk about is in the information section, and most of it is also within the aspects. And so that's where you really find most of the information that a witch might find helpful in terms of what they're going to do, and vis-a-vis a magical working for the day. So anyway. And I just sort of couch it in the whole lunar transit thing because that goes over the course of 2 days usually. So anyhow, that's what that's all about. So if you're interested in something like that, it really is it's a different take on astrology. It's really about how I make it work for me. Anyway, so it's just different. So anyhow, check that out if you want to. Again, I did a series on the queens. That's up there. Just kind of scroll back and go find that. That was kind of fun to do, and I'll do more of that. I've been wanting to do something with respect to just women, how they're represented in tarot, period, not just the queens, but women in general. And because let's face it, traditional tarot is very patriarchal and not at all reflective of reality. So anyhow, although it is unfortunately reflective of the reality we often find ourselves in, right? So anyhow, check out the blog if you want. It's over at imsteppingaside.com. It's called Stepping Aside. And, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook. There's a Stepping Aside Facebook page. I have a personal one. You can friend me there. Google Plus is going away. So here in a couple of days, so I won't be posting this there anymore or anything else there anymore, unfortunately. Hopefully they'll come up with something new. But they're putting that away now, and we're not going to have that anymore. So I post over on Tumblr and Pinterest and places like that, and LinkedIn. I'm also posting on LinkedIn. I also post my work over on Medium. Most things I post there. Sometimes I don't, but most of the time I cross post over there. So you'll find stuff over there too. I started to do one on Reddit, but I don't know. They banned me a couple of times. I still don't understand what I did wrong. So I don't know what happened there. I'm not controversial. I just posted my stuff there. And I don't know. They got upset with me. I don't know why. I don't know why. Anyhow, so I don't know. So I deleted my Reddit account. So I don't have one there. But anyhow. Oh, also, if you haven't joined on Stellar, that's a fun place. On stellar.com, it kind of is set up in the same structure as maybe Facebook is. The page kind of looks the same kind of structurally, but it's a fun place. It's for UFO and people, believers and all kinds of stuff. It's a really neat place to be. So lots of fun people on it. So I highly recommend that one as well. Go check it out at onstellar.com and just join up. It's fun. So anyhow, that's another place you can find me. But beyond that, I'm just so glad you're here. So we'll see you tomorrow. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another, and blessed be.